course, about the GoFundMe, and you go on Facebook and you go to Elaine Saunders. I'm going to read you what she put as her last post. Unfortunately, she can't be here. I think we owe her an enormous amount, and Matty, of course. They're brilliant people. Without them, nothing would happen. So I'm going to read you Elaine's last post, the one she really wanted people to know about. We all live relatively comfortable lives, and by that I mean we have running water, gas, electricity, simple things like a cup of tea. Imagine the sheer horror of sitting in your comfy chair drinking that cup of tea and suddenly your living room wall has gone, been blown clean off the face of your building. Imagine that second of utter silence before that horror starts to sink in. The sound of neighbours screaming at the sight of their loved ones blown to pieces. Babies, pregnant women, children playing, grandmothers, mothers and fathers. Please close your eyes and really imagine that horror suddenly becoming your new reality. Where do you go? What do you take? Wedding photos? Photos of newborn children? The photos of your ancestors? What goes in that small suitcase? Food? Sanitary products? Toothpaste? Nappies? How many clothes? 3 days? A week? Vital medication? These are the real life choices these people in Ukraine have had to face. Me? I wouldn't know where to start. And as strong as a woman as I am, I would crumble. I think many people have switched off to the Ukraine conflict because it's depressing. It's on the news too much. Let me say again to you, it's less than 24 hours drive away. That's a reality. It's on our doorstep. And these are very uncertain political times. We all live in keeps, none of us safe. Please let these facts sink into your psyche. This is really happening, and there by the grace of God go I. It's too easy to turn the other cheek and to say, well, it doesn't affect us, really. Food prices are climbing weekly, gas, oil, electric. Need I go on? This is all a direct result of what's happening right now in my lifetime. The images are all very similar to the images from the Blitz. Think about that, please. My elders would describe the horrors of the Second World War to me, and it just seemed like a far away story, but it was their reality. Tonight, when you're dishing your family meal, think about those thousands of Ukrainians who are standing in line for a hot meal. Think about the women whose husbands are on the front line fighting for their freedom, never knowing if they will ever see or cook their beloveds another meal again. This is the reality. Mothers having to keep soiled nappies on their babies just a few more hours because there is no endless supply to keep their babies clean. Women having the humiliation of starting their periods with absolutely no way of accessing their sanitary products. This is the reality. Washing daily with wet wipes, if you're lucky, skin infections erupting. This is the reality. Lice are taking hold in certain centres as there's simply no washing facilities for people to be kept sanitised. Not the reality the news will show you, but the real reality of living displaced for long, extended periods of time. And as things stand, this displacement will continue for years to come. The children will not remember the Ukraine before the war. That smashes my heart into a million pieces. This is why ongoing donations to Food for All is vital. I've decided to keep up the GoFundMe page indefinitely at this point. Like I keep asking, £1 will make a difference, and we need to make a difference to those people who've lost everything. If this ever happened in the UK again, the British people would be in desperate need for help. Why are the Ukrainians any different? Me and Matty chose an all-dayer because it's a no-brainer. He's a musician and I'm an artist, and as husband and wife over 30 years, we get things done. True. All I'm asking is, love each other. Be kind to your fellow human beings. Life is fragile and can be taken away at a heartbeat. Love and kindness are free. And that's from Lainey, and you can make donations and get other people to make the donations by going to Elaine Saunders on Facebook, GoFundMe, and at 5:30 we'll have Kingfisher. Thank you. Right, we're back again, and you're going to get a contrast to what you had before, because this is Vampire Slumber Party, and it's going to be, well, I've got a bit from the website, pop punk, funeral pop, but fresh, evocative, complex, conversational storytelling, nuanced. So you're going to get that kind of intimacy, connection, and you really need to listen, and you will, I know. You're going to really enjoy this. So this is Vampire Slumber Party. Give them a hand!
It screams and it shouts, fills up its lungs and it empties them out. City's alive and it's changing us. Wants you to give up, wants you to give in. Guess it works best not to obsess, but it's hard when we're all so damn force-fed. Stay up all night just to catch my breath. Morning I feel like death. Living for the weekend is all we have. Counting down our days like they're numbers. Living for the weekend is all we have. Weather like their life jackets. Random acts of kindness can brighten my day, but lately the darkness is eating away. Trying my best not to lose my head. Easier said than done. Guess it works best not to obsess, but it's hard when we're all so damn force-fed. Stay up all night just to catch my breath. Morning I feel like death. Living for the weekend is all we have. Counting down our days like they're numbers. Living for the weekend is all we have. Wearing like their life jackets. No going back 'cause it's all been burned. Nowhere to hide 'cause the wall's been turned. Trying my best not to lose my head. Easier said than done. To stay cool when the world's on fire. It gets harder and harder as the flames grow high. We're all pushing and pulling just to get ahead, but is it really worth it if there's nothing left? Living for the weekend is all we have. Counting down our days like they're numbers. Living for the weekend is all we have. Wearing like their life jackets. No going back 'cause it's all been burned. Nowhere to hide 'cause the wall's been turned. Trying my best not to lose my head. Easier said than done. Living for the weekend is all we have. Counting down the days like they're numbers. Living for the weekend is all we have. So we wear them like their life jackets. These songs are kind of written as a full band, so this is just a temporary thing.
Where's your band?
They couldn't make it. The drummer's over there somewhere. Well, he's out. This next song's called Get Well Soon. There's a full band version on all the regular streaming sites. Turn the lights off and just breathe into the bottom of your breath. Wash away inside of me and fill the came drifting out to sea. Wish I had the strength to shake, dreadful feeling from my bones. Find myself consumed by thoughts of where we go when we all die. Picture the darkness and I quake, think of the world still turning. Picture the emptiness of space, all of the buildings standing tall. Smoke fades until it is a whisper, then you can't hear it at all. No memories linger of the fire, flames that started it all. Smoke fades until it is a whisper, then you can't hear it at all. No memories linger of the fire, flames that started it all. Wish I had the strength to shake, dreadful feeling from my bones. Find myself consumed by thoughts of where we go when we all die. Picture the darkness and I quake, think of the world still turning. Picture the emptiness of space, all of the buildings standing tall. Maiden, last song. This song actually came out this last Friday. Again, a full band version. It's called Look Alive Judy. Anyone knows the reference? It's too hard out to think straight, can't shake the smell of all these fumes, clinging to my clothes, and now feels like filling up my room. There are no quiet streets left, caught in the teeth of progress. Dissenting voices fade away, chewed up, then they are erased. When the walls fall down, will they make a sound? If there's no one left, hear them hit the ground. I'm overwhelmed, my head's ready to burst. It gets hard to breathe when you always feel the worst. Feels like I'm dragging dead weight. Everything's too long to hear myself. My skin feels dry and stretched out over these bones that don't burn well. Need to see some water and not see trash. Find some trees with my plastic bags. Breathe some air that cleans my lungs. Get away before I come undone. When the walls fall down, will they make a Kingfisher up next.
Yeah, nice one, Yusuf.
Okay, now listen. I have this down as Vampire Slumber Party. Now I know there are three of you and you've just had to do it all by yourself, right?
Yeah, well done.
And that is a fantastic feat. You just think what it's like. It's like doing an audition or something. I don't even know your name, so come on, your name. Yusuf. Yusuf. And how do you feel about it? Doing it all on your own, Yusuf. You did a fantastic job. Yeah. And you're covered in sweat, and I'm not surprised. So thank you ever so much for doing that, all on your own. Thank you. Give it out, you did great. Now you are really going to get blasted now because this is Kingfisher. And what they tell me is they have to keep up with the drummer, which means they're bloody loud. So, but they're real musicians as well. You can't play this easily. So give them a welcome. This is Kingfisher.
chance I could get a tiny bit of guitar in my monitor, please? If possibly. Are you right there, Louis? You got some Well, you're right next to her, I guess. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Oh, we can say this now, which is nice. The first song we played is on Spotify. Finally, we've got a song on Spotify. That's nice, right? Listen to it, it's very nice.
Very nice.
It's quite like a soft, mellow, you know, kind of like you're chilling out in the garden. It's a sunny day. And it's called Final Day, and it's you know, it's nice. Okay, this one's Hands Are Bound. Well, we got our last ones coming up. We're going to try and knock them out as quickly as possible. We might go into each other, so you won't even tell. But yeah, we get to when the song changes, all that, you know. But quickly shout to all the bands already played. We had Laura done that earlier, which I missed, unfortunately, because the trains are a fucking nightmare.
Slumber.
And we had Kick Pistols. We had Ams and Knox, which was fucking interesting shit, man. That was captivating. And of course, the great Vampire Slumber Party, who sounds amazing solo, but even better, check him out on your Spotify, your Bandcamp. Go on Bandcamp, because that's where the bands get their money, man. Well deserved too, trust me. Okay, we're going to do Find the Time into Prospects of My Youth. Gives you 2 minutes to refresh my vocal cords.
Yeah, they change, you'll see.
Thanks again to Matty Lainey for organising this. It's been a great day so far. Thank you so much.
As well.
Never gonna hold
Stick around, there's going to be so many more good bands to come. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a start. They told me they have to do it to keep up with their drummer. That's why they're so loud. Did they keep up with their drummer? Yes! Give it another hand! Kingfisher!
We got the Lewis! We got the Lewis!
Right, we got you up and dancing, haven't we? Right, in 15 minutes I'm going to tell you all about Extinction Rebellion, because that's what I'm from, I'm on, and you're going to really, really learn about rebellion. So 15 minutes time, in the meantime. And I'm going to read things about Extinction Rebellion and what we do to rebel. And Richard's going to improvise, because he can improvise to words, so he's going to back me up. He's a great musician, is Richard Lafford. So thank you, Richard. There's your time, he just said. Right, the first poem, Extinction Rebellion, London Occupation. Now what this is about is going on to Waterloo Bridge 2019, taking plants up there, locking on top of the lorry. That means chaining yourself so the police couldn't take us. It's also got the parts where we lined up and the police took us, and then it's about what we achieved, which is that in 2019, when we started occupying London, the idea of climate was about 15% amongst people, and by the time we'd finished in 10 days it was at 80%, and we got them to have sorry we got them to have climate emergencies in lots of governments, in local and national. That was what Extinction Rebellion did, and we did it by getting arrested, and we shocked people. And this is about London Bridge, Waterloo Bridge. Extinction Rebellion, London Occupation. I remember where we nested on trucks with our talons drilled into metal as we sent up wild cries, calling to our children as they gathered, rising from their bedrooms and playgrounds and schoolrooms to fold their wings around the wounds and consecrated body of Earth, our host. How we made tarmac into garden, seeding ourselves in the night and easing up next morning through drains and cracks to release soft, balsamic fragrance and love repeat blooms, unlocking who we are. Yes, I remember how we offered ourselves, sitting stark cross-legged on stony ground, held together by our songbooks and testimonies, and the rising tide of quiet on the bridge and in the square and in the silent wait at the circus for leaf boat rescue. And in that minute, as I watched, the air became an arch, the sun told the truth. The traffic stopped, and the trees and protesters stood tall, raising a green song space with their bodies, while all the birds of Oxfordshire and Gloucestershire sang Emergency. Thank you. By the way, there's a famous poem, Stop, which ends with the words of the birds, but not with the word emergency, of course. Now this is about film. It's about a future film. The first half is the film in 250, and this is what we're facing with climate. This is the disaster. This is the film of the end. But the second half of the poem is the remake of the film with more hope, because we managed to defeat them. It's called Moving Images. The soundtrack to the film 2050, The Last Generation Speaks, has been lost. It vanished with the artworks of the London and New York galleries and the burnt out desert stops of Angkor Wat and Great Zimbabwe. Like a cry in a storm, it came and went, then spread upwards on night wings to hover as a message in the sky, warning of Easter Island and Mohenjo-Daro. It had served its purpose. For us, it was a film in the head, rerun so often that the images had become hand of God, slide, streamed at all hours onto walls and ceilings. Seen by the elderly, it flashed up 1930s photos of empty shelves and queues at the bank. Reviewed by the screen buffs, it was a switch from unreal horror to a death in the living room. While for the dedicated gamers, it was World War III, fought for real, in hand-to-mouth emergencies. But then came the remake. Pieced together from memory and scraps left over, it told the history of die-ins, vigils, lock-ons and ceremonial occupations and the worldwide children's march from capital to capital, truth-speaking truth to power that brought things to a stop. And now, in playback, we're caught on camera, blocking traffic, flesh against metal, protecting the wild, then talking satyagraha and being the change you want to see as we walk with Siddhartha in the woods while hearing the sound of trees in the wind, rain on grass, animals feeding. Okay, now then this next poem is called Paradise Lost. It's about Oceania. It is the subject that I have a close friend who lives in Tahiti. So this is about the fact that those islands in Oceania are going under. It's about one particular one. It's called the East Island, and it went in under in 2018 because a hurricane blew it away. But of course the hurricanes do that because the sea levels are rising, not only because of melting glaciers, but also because the increased heat in the oceans is swelling it. And of course, we are facing much worse. So it's called Paradise Lost. 1. The hot tub fills up. Out in the Pacific, an island floats on its shadow. The line has narrowed. Staring into brightness, we soak up warmth we've stayed in too long. Half a mile of sand, safe till now. Rest stop and refuge for seals and turtles has melted into nothing. 2. The storm took it, leaving us behind. Mixed roots, stems, eggshells, the prints of crabs and urchins, coral, anemone and worms, the full envelope of life now torn apart and scattered, dissolved into air, leaving behind a space where in dreams we mouth the words from ball games in the yard. Can we have it back, please? 3. Invisible now. We've only the maps as proof. Lying low in huge blue, we were all salt and undertow. Your story, the stars, deep sea drift and Oceania, ancestors going down with the sun, memories of the gods. Now, this next piece, we're going to have some music from these two speakers, which is Richard's music, but it's on several instruments, so he couldn't play it here. It's from this book, my book, Love's Register, and it is a meditation by Symhatree Chairs, who is a professor, and she is an Oceania person, and it is a meditation on journeying, which is what these people did without compasses, without modern methods of finding their way. But of course, it is a meditation on indigenous wisdom and our inflicted climate change on those people. And I'm going to say the title and then we will switch on the sound. A Dream of Futures. At the Deep Adaptation Conference, it was 15 minutes before lights out. At 8:30, the Earth Hour would begin. On the main stage, a short, raven-haired woman was mic'd up for her talk, standing in front of a curved screen, wearing a brown tunic and rope sandals. Professor Symhatree Chairs was gazing at the audience, mouthing a greeting. With her prominent teeth and wide smile, she had the look of someone old who stays young. To one side, a signer was repeating her welcome. Led by Symhatree, their words and gestures came in waves. Both were lit up. In the front row of the audience, Symhatree's brother was checking his guitar-shaped watch. Beside him, Joe, Cass and Mia Lavender had accepted his offer and was sucking on boiled sweets. Y leaned forward to tell his guests about his sister reading from the programme. In it, her talk was described as a regenerative Oceania voyage. All four didn't look their age. When Symhatree began, she introduced herself as an indigenous activist and scientist. In that order, she said, and then, as the lights dimmed, she started her talk. It went like this. I'm going to take you on a journey. A nakia, what people call te hau te ere. It's a guided vision exploring what's to come and what's being lost. And to share that vision, I'd like you all to close your eyes. Tell yourself as you close them that you're happily tired, but not sleepy. You've had a busy day, and it's time to rest. What you might be seeing are ghostly images or a small light show. I'll explain that later. Now the darkness is clearing and your vision, true vision, is coming back. You're awake and you've walked into a different world. There are sounds all around of people singing and running water. You're lying on a floral bedspread with the windows open in a house by the sea. Warm rain is bathing the garden. If you listen carefully, you can hear it swishing on the leaves. The air is damp, the grass is shiny, and you're smelling flowers, beautiful, creamy, richly scented flowers that open at dawn. It might be that you've returned to an earlier existence, maybe to what's called Illu Tempus, when the gods were real. It's where everything's alive and charged with meaning, and that's where I'm hoping to take you tonight. You can open your eyes now, but please take care. Do it slowly. Feel yourself coming back, but hold on to what you saw. Call it what you like, your third eye or dream state, but stay inside your vision. At the same time, respect science, because there are explanations. Those lights and flashes you saw were physical phenomena, not stars or fireworks, but what's called phosphenes. They're electrical sparks coming from the retina. So come with me into my world. It's a vast space, a wide ocean, the size of a continent. We're on a long voyage from island to island, a dark crossing, a journey into emptiness. Firstly, in childhood, standing with my father on Point Venus. Here, the land's red, and the beach is black volcanic sand. The view takes in Maria, and beyond that the invisible archipelagos. To sail to them can take days or weeks. A word in your ear about those voyages. The boat's cramped. You sleep sitting up. You're hot, then cold, and your body hurts. When the food and water run short, you start seeing things. It's like being shut into a small cell with the roof wide open. And when the sea gets up, part of the boat gets broken. It's a physical state similar to breakdown, a condition of illness sometimes called lysis, the dark night of the soul. Like vision, navigation is hard, but the star in your mind will lead you on. Now, eyes closed but open, I'd like to take you on my first navigation. It begins at dawn, guided by the stars, the colours of the sky, the wind and the waves. Of course, there's science in that as well, but what my father taught me was that to find an island, picture its image. Keep that before you as your guiding light. Navigation begins in the heart. Both my parents taught me about culture. Now we're all linked. Plants, animals, humans, the ancestors, all parts of the chain. They saw our world as a gift, something passed on. I can still feel them in that garden, in the warm rain. I visited often in my dreams. I want to take you now to Symhatree in the Tomato Islands. It's a small atoll with a central lagoon. What you see as you sail towards it is a line of trees rising out of the sea, but when you get closer, you realise they're growing on low-lying land. The island's a raft of green with a blue eye in the middle. It looks like a paradise garden, but when you step onto the beach, you'll realise it's dying. Every year the waves eat up more land. The sea turtles and triggerfish aren't seen anymore. The corals are bleaching. A few people still live there, but most have left. This is the loss I was talking about. A cast-out feeling, an abandonment, an unrelenting exodus. As a people, we've been left off the map. Paris, Tokyo, London, Shanghai, New York, they're the ones winning on top. We're on the outside, going under. Keeping them afloat's what's flooding us. Science tells us the oceans are warming. Thermal expansion added to ice melt raises sea levels. The salt gets into plant life and eats away glaciers. The damage is to trees, insects, animals, birds, all of us. The water's already up to our chests and touching our necks. My ancestors were navigators. In these times we need their vision. The world is disappearing beneath our feet. We're all on Tahiti, losing our lives, our homes, our gods. So I invite you to open your eyes, see with your heart, go out, be brave and set sail without compass to follow our guides, the birds, the sun, our inner vision. Do that and find again that first time in the garden. We will find a way. As Symhatree stopped talking, the lights went up. When the applause began, she turned towards the signer, bowing slightly. In the front row, Y was standing with his arms in the air. Beside him, Joe, Cass and Mia were pressing their palms together. As a group, they were silent. When the signer presented her with a bouquet, Symhatree began to cry. On the stroke of 8:30, the lights went out. Listening on the radio, James and Beth Lavender were silent too.
Matty!
Matty!
Matty!